Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Patrick statue. I know that you guys weren't too fond of my SpongeBob statue, apparently some of you deemed it a little bit creepy, so if you guys don't like Patrick as well, don't worry, I'll quit making SpongeBob stuff. If you want to make him though, here's what you're going to need. You will need some black wool, and some white wool. Also grab red, pink, magenta, purple wool, dark blue, and finally grab yourself some lime green wool. And once you have every single one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out where you want to make him, I'll be making him right here, you're going to want to kick off your Patrick statue with a row of 8 pink wool in a row on the floor. That's 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once you have your row of 8 pink wool, this is what you want to do for row number 2. So just building directly on top, this is what you want to do. Do 2 pink wool in the 2 center spots of the row, then do a single red wool either side of those pinks, and then fill the entire rest of your row in with pink wool. For the next 4 rows, do 4 solid rows of pink wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you've done your 4 rows of pink wool, for the next row you want to place a single red wool either side of the row on both ends, and then fill the entire middle section in with pink. For the next row, just do an entire row of pink wool. For the next 2 rows, do 2 solid rows of lime green, so that's 1 and 2. For the next row, place 2 purple wool in the 2 center spots of the row, and then just throw lime green everywhere else. For the next row, do 4 purple wool in the 4 center spots of the row, and then throw lime green everywhere else. For the next row, going from left to right, just calling out the colours, do 1 dark blue, 2 lime green, 2 purple, 2 dark blue, 1 lime green. For the next row, do an entire row of lime green wool. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 pink wool, then 1 red, then fill the rest of the row in with pink. For the next row, starting from the right hand side, it's pretty much just the opposite of the previous row, do 1 pink, 1 red, then fill the entire rest of the row in with pink. For the next row, do an entire row of pink wool. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 3 pink wool, 1 red, then fill the rest of the row in with pink. For the next 2 rows, do 2 rows of pink wool, so that's 1 and 2. For the next row, starting from the right hand side, do 2 pink wool, 1, 2, 1 red wool, and then make the entire rest of the row pink wool. For the next row, do an entire row of pink wool. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 2 pink, 1 red, then fill the entire rest of your row in with pink. For the final row of Patrick's torso, just fill the entire row in with pink wool, and what you want to end up with is something that should look exactly like this. Once you've reached this point right here, it's now time for us to give Patrick arms. So once you have reached this point right here, pause this if necessary of course, you now want to come all the way over to the right hand side of Patrick, and you want to come down to the first row of the torso, which is this row right here. You guys can see the row of the shorts that has some dark blue in it, it's this row. And going right of this lime green block here, you want to do a row of 4 pink wool. So just coming out from the right, a row of 4 pink wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And on top of your row of 4 pink wool, you want to stack 2 more rows of pink. So that's 1 and 2, to give you 3 rows of pink wool. Now, we're just going to build up every single other row of the arm exactly how we've just built up the legs and the torso. So for the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 2 pink, 1 red, 1 pink. For the next 4 rows, do 4 solid rows of pink wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 red, then 3 pink. For the next row, do a solid row of pink. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 pink, 1 red, 2 pink. And for the final row of the arm, just do an entire row of pink wool to give you something that should look exactly like this. Once you've got that right arm taken care of, we can now go ahead and move on to the left arm. So coming over to the left hand side of Patrick now, going left of this dark blue block, the equivalent block on the left hand side of Patrick, you want to just go left of it by 4 with your pink wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then stack 2 rows of pink directly on top of it, so that's 1 and 2, to give you 3 rows of pink. For the next row, starting from the left, do 1 pink, 1 red, 2 pink. Then do 4 rows of pink, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 3 pink, 1 red. For the next row, do an entire row of pink. For the next row, do 2 pink, 1 red, 1 pink. For the final row of the arm, just do an entire row of pink to give you something which should look in total, and I'll show you the entire front of the statue altogether, which should look in total exactly like this. This is exactly what you want to have for the entire front of your statue. Once you've reached this point right here, we can now move on to the rest of the statue, so pause this if necessary, of course, if you're still working on any of that. Once you have reached this point, however, come all the way round to the back of your statue, and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. First of all, you want to take each end of the feet, each end block of the feet, and extend it back towards where the back of the statue is going to be, each by a row of 3 pink wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, and the other side as well, 1, 2, 3. Then connect each one of those third blocks together to give you the base of your statue. And all we're going to be doing now is just building up the entire back of our statue on top of these 8 back pink blocks right here. So for the second row of the back of your Patrick statue, just do an entire row of pink wool. For the next row of the back, do 2 pink wool in the 2 center spots of the row, do a single red either side of that pink, and then throw pink wool everywhere else. For the next 3 rows, do 3 solid rows of pink wool, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. For the next row, place a single pink wool on the ends of your row, do a red next to that pink, and then throw pink everywhere else. For the next row, do an entire row of pink wool. For the next row, starting from the right hand side, do 2 purple wool, then make the entire rest of your row lime green wool. For the next row, make the entire row lime green wool. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 lime green, 2 purple, then make the rest of the row lime green wool. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 4 purple wool, and then fill the rest of the row in with lime green. For the next row, do 1 lime green, 2 purple, 2 dark blue, then fill the rest of the row in with lime green. And for the next row, do an entire row of lime green wool. For the next 2 rows, do 2 solid rows of pink wool, so that's 1 and that's 2. For the next row, starting from the right hand side, do 2 pink wool, 1 red wool, then make the rest of the row pink wool. For the next 4 rows, do 4 solid rows of pink wool, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the next row, starting from the left hand side again, do 1 pink wool, 1 red, then fill the rest of the row in with pink. For the next 2 rows, just do 2 solid rows of pink wool. That's 1, and number 2 will completely finish off the back of your statue. And once you've done that second pink row, you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. The only thing that we're missing for the back of the statue now are just the backs of the arms, which are really simple. So once you've reached this point right here, all you want to do now is add in the backs of the arms, which are really simple. Want to know why, guys? Really easy. Just look directly forward at what you did for the fronts of the arms and just copy block for block onto the back of your statue what you did for the fronts of the arms. Just transfer the fronts of the arms onto the back of the statue just by looking directly forward and just copying the blocks that you placed on the front of the statue. It doesn't get easier. Just copy the exact same position, the exact same blocks in the exact same positions, and you really can't go too wrong. No instructions, no plans required, just assuming that you managed to get the fronts of the arms right, the backs of the arms will be of no trouble to you. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'm just copying the fronts of the arms onto the back of the statue. It shouldn't take you too long, and once you've done it, you want to end up with something that should look in total exactly like this. So that is exactly what you want to have for the entire back of your Patrick statue. Pause this video if necessary, if you're still working on any of that, of course. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the sides of our statue. So come all the way over to this side of your statue and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. The way that we're going to be filling in the sides is exactly how we filled in the fronts and the backs of the statue. We're just going to be either doing it in solid rows or we'll just be doing it one colour at a time. So, for the second row of this side of your Patrick statue, just fill the entire row in with pink. Entire row sounds a little silly considering it's only 2 blocks, but hey, we'll stick to the same dialogue. For the next row, make the left block red and the right block pink. Then, for the next 5 rows, do 5 solid rows of pink. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can then proceed to make the entire rest of the leg section completely lime green, and as you guys can see, it kind of even makes sense as you look at the left and right hand sides of the statue where the green starts. It makes sense that his shorts kind of like fold around with the statue. So that is what you want for Patrick's leg section. Really simple. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move up to the arms. So you want to start this off just by filling the entire bottom of the arms in with pink wool, just like that. Just fill the bottom of the hands in with pink, and that will in turn create the first row of the sides of the arms. For the next 2 rows of the arms, just on top of this first row, just do 2 solid rows of pink. Then for the next row, make the left block pink and the right block red. Then for the next 4 rows, do 4 solid rows of pink, just like that, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the next row, make the left block red and the right block pink. Then fill the entire rest of the arm in with pink wool. And once you've done that, we'll just do the shoulder here whilst we're up here. For the shoulder, you just want to fill the first 3 rows in with pink wool, just like this, the first 3 rows in with pink coming towards the center of the statue. 1, 2, 3. You can come in by more, you can come in by as many as you like really, but don't come in by any less than 3, otherwise you'll end up with holes in your statue. So just fill the first 3 rows coming in towards the center of the statue in by 3 with your pink wool. And once you've done that, you should end up with something that should look exactly like this for the side of your statue. Really simple, as you can see. And once you've got this first side taken care of, we can now move on to the opposite side of our statue, which is even easier, guys. Do you want to know why? Exact same reason that the back of the arms are easier than the front of the arms, because all you have to do to complete this opposite side of your statue is just look directly forward at what you did on that side of the statue and just apply it to this side, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Just look directly forward at what you've just made, I can only imagine a couple of minutes ago, and just copy exactly what you can see on that side of the statue onto this side of the statue. It does not differ from left to right. So just do exactly what I'm doing here. Just copy what you have on that side of the statue and you will have no problems. And of course, remember to fill in the tops of the shoulder and come in by 3. Like I said, you can come in by more, but really it's just a waste of time because this whole little middle section is going to be filled up by Patrick's head anyway. And once you've completed this second side of your statue, this is what it should look like. You guys shouldn't be able to tell one side apart from another. So once you've taken care of both sides of your statue, all we have to do now is Patrick's head. So pause this video if you're still working on any of that, of course. Once you've got that taken care of, however, we can now move on to Patrick's head. So come all the way to the front of your statue and come all the way up to the top of the torso. You want to start off Patrick's head by placing a row of 8 pink wool directly on top of the top row of the torso, exactly like this. Once you've got that row of 8 pink wool, you then want to place another row of pink directly in front of that original row, like that. Just place a row of pink directly in front of it. For the next row, and again we're going to be placing this row in front of this pink row, you want to take out your red wool and place 4 red wool in the 4 center spots of the row, like that. You then want to place a black either side of the end reds, and then you just want to fill the rest of the row in with pink, and that basically just involves throwing a single pink wool on the ends of the row. And the outer row that you want to have formed should look exactly like this. That is the first row of Patrick's face, which is what we're going to be taking care of first. So once you've got that taken care of, we're now just going to build up Patrick's entire face. So for the second row of Patrick's face, do this. Starting from the left hand side, do 1 pink wool, then do 3 black wool, then do 1 white, 2 black, 1 pink. For the next row, do an entire row of pink wool. And you know what guys, we may as well build this in now. Do yourself a favour, and once you've taken care of that row of pink wool, just place a single pink wool in front of both of those end blocks of your row. So you just want to have 2 pink wool coming out of either side of that row, just directly in front of it, like that. Once you've done that, you then, for the next row, want to place 2 pink wool in the 2 center spots of the row, and then just throw white wool everywhere else. For the next row, do 2 pink in the 2 center spots of the row, do a single black wool either side of the pink, then do white wool everywhere else. For the next row, do 2 pink in the 2 center spots of the row, and then just throw white wool everywhere else. For the next row, place 2 pink in the 2 center spots of the row, place a single pink either side of the row, and then place black wool everywhere else. For the final row of the face, just do an entire row of pink wool to give you something that should look exactly like this, and that is exactly what you want to have for Patrick's face. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the rest of Patrick's head. So pause this if necessary, of course. Once you've got that taken care of, you now want to come all the way around to the back of Patrick's head. And this is what you want to do. We now have to form the base of the head. So take this first original row of pink wool and extend it back with your pink until that first original row of pink overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows. So just to give you guys a side view, this is what you want to have. You can see how the front of the head overhangs the front of the statue by 2 rows. All you want to do, back of the statue, back of the head wants to overhang by 2 rows. Very, very simple. And once you've made that happen, you now want to take the 2 back corners of the head and you want to go up on top of both of those corners, each by 7 with your pink wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the other corner as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then connect both of those 7th blocks together, and then also connect those 7th blocks all the way to the front of the head. And what you want to form is basically a big giant pink cube with Patrick's face on the front. And once you've formed that empty cube, you then just want to completely fill the cube in with pink wool. And in doing that, you will have 100% fully completed Patrick's head. There is nothing more to it. The only detail that exists in Patrick's head is just Patrick's face, and once you've done that, everything else becomes really, really simple. That's why we turned his head into a giant cube, and that's why we're now filling it in completely with pink wool. And once you have completely filled in Patrick's head with pink wool, that will be the end of your Patrick statue, and what it wants to look like is a little something like this. Isn't it fitting that Patrick is now submerged or surrounded by water? Just like the real Bikini Bottom. And just my luck, isn't it? Let me get rid of the rain, guys, and then I'll be back with the nice sunshine, and then we can take a look at this statue, can't we? So I'll be back in just a second once I've completely gotten rid of the rain. It actually takes quite a while. So this is what your Patrick statue should look like once he's been 100% fully completed. Hopefully you guys don't think he looks too scary, or angry, or menacing, or demonic. Hopefully you guys just like him this time. Oh, I should probably clarify this. I was reading through the SpongeBob comments, and it seems as though not a lot of you seem to grasp what the point of these statues are. These aren't supposed to be like accurate representations of like Patrick and SpongeBob, otherwise, well, they'd be a lot bigger and they'd be different shapes. Like, this Patrick statue isn't like as close as I can get to like a full-scale version of Patrick, the starfish, like from the TV show. He isn't supposed to look anything like that. This is more of a representation of if Patrick was a Minecraft skin, this is what Patrick would look like. He's like built in the dimensions of Steve, of any other Minecraft skin, barring a few exceptions, including the skin that I'm wearing actually. I'm currently rolling with this skin right here, which is kind of like just a floating head. I think it's from the Halo skin pack, but He's kind of in the style of most traditional Minecraft skins, which is the point of him, SpongeBob, and most other skins that I make, just in case you guys didn't get that, just in case I had to clarify, because some of you guys were saying how I should have made him different shapes and sizes and what have you. I'm not trying to make an actual proper statue of him, like as close 100% realistic as I can get. I'm trying to make a skin statue, so hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully you managed to make him no problem. If you guys like Patrick, I have a couple of other SpongeBob statues that I can make as well, but if not, I guess I'll just leave those in the world and you guys will never see them, unless you watch my world tour, link in the description for that. Thanks for watching, guys.